15-9. Like I stated, Bobby Valentine was definitely the wrong hire for the Boston Red Sox. I don't think if this team doesn't improve remarkably, if this team doesn't improve and have some major improvements, he's going to be one and done. You think the NCAA has a problem with one and done? Bobby Valentine, mark my word, will be one and done at Boston. May not even make it through the first season. He might be, is there a half one and done? He might be half one and done. I'll be right back after this message from our sponsor. So please sit back and continue to enjoy your early morning coffee with who? Babe Tom Herman. If you're looking for affordable health and insurance coverage, well then give Jonica Rowland of the Rowland Group a call. She's here to serve families, individuals, and small businesses. Contact her at 919-719-7211 or at 919-539-2492. Once again, contact Jonica Rowland of the Rowland Group. And once again, that's Jonica Rowland of the Rowland Group. That's spelled ROWLAND. So please feel free to give her a call. And I'd like to thank both of our sponsors, E, a Natural Skincare Studio with Eugenia Jones, and also the Rowland Group with Jonica Rowland for sponsoring the Babe Tom Herman Show. Now, previously, we did go into the NBA playoffs. We went into the situation with Ron Artest. We went over the NFL draft. Some of this has been gone over by many networks, probably thousands of times before this Saturday morning. And I just think it's repetitious to keep going over and over what you can see online or continue to see on ESPN and other fine networks. But feel free, once again, if you have missed any past episodes of the Babe Tom Herman Show, you can do so at my YouTube channel, which is, of course, named Babe Tom Herman. Also, please feel free to follow me on Twitter at Babe Tom Herman. Now, you know I'm going to always have a segment on my show being frustrated with the NCAA and some of its member schools, or some of their member schools. Sorry for the bad English. Now, what I'm going over just briefly is the restrictions on transfers, which is a simmering debate in college sports right now. As you know, a lot of schools prevent transfers. Guys that are leaving their schools just feel like it's just not a good mix. They can put restrictions, coaches and schools can put restrictions on where the player can transfer to. Now, the latest instance coming from a big school, from a Big Ten school, Wisconsin, and head coach Bo Ryan, was the negative publicity that came out of that with the issue with redshirt freshman Gerard Utoff, and that's spelled Uthoff, Utoff, or Utoff, I'm sorry. He basically decided earlier this month that, hey, you know, this is just not a good fit. And let me go back into the young man's defense. Even though Bo Ryan in Wisconsin might have been a little pissed off that he did this, but come on. I watched the Badgers play about maybe 2 or 3 times this year and fell asleep. I mean, I literally fell asleep. It took me, I'm sitting there bad enough that games, some of the Big Ten games come on late, and I'm just sitting there, eyes just half shut, and I'm like, would this game get over? Please. I just want to see what the end score was. I wish I just had some tunnel vision, just could see the future, to see what the score would be, to just, just keep me from being miserable watching the Badgers play basketball. Football team is decent. Basketball team, even though they are successful, they're boring. So my hat's off to Gerard Utoff. He's smart. He seen firsthand from the bench. He's red shirt. He looked and said, man, he saw the handwriting on the wall. He was like, forget this. He saw the handwriting on the wall with that boring offense and said, I got to get out of here. So I'm sure they got offended. Any coach would be. I know I would be offended. That's just human. It's just human nature. It's a reaction. Normal reaction. But Bo Ryan, who says he didn't have much to do with it, passing the blame. And by the way, I think Wisconsin administrators were getting the blame for this. But either way, he made himself look stupid on the Mike and Mike show in reference to that when he was questioned about the restrictions. Now, before relaxing the restrictions on this young man, Bo Ryan initially placed every Big Ten team on this list, every Atlantic Coast Conference school, plus Iowa State and Marquette, on a list of 25 schools that couldn't contact him. Now, once again, the Big Ten couldn't contact him. Atlantic Coast Conference schools, Iowa State and Marquette. But now they relaxed it under pressure. Trust me, it was bad publicity. They're now saying that he can transfer to any basketball program outside of the Big Ten, which that makes it more feasible for me to see. That's more. I can understand that. I wouldn't want to be a coach. Say, for an example, I coached this team in the ACC, and like last year with Ryan Harrell. Mark Godfrey came in and released him. Harrell wanted to be released, and he granted his release. But there was one restriction. You can't transfer to any team within the league. I can understand that. But these guys, Bo Ryan in Wisconsin, was saying that, okay, the Big Ten Conference can't contact you. Neither can an ACC school contact you, plus Iowa State and Marquette. I don't know what the deal is with that. They were on a list of 25 schools that couldn't contact them. I just don't know why Iowa State and Marquette were just, boom, put on that list. I don't know. Maybe there's some coaches. Maybe it's the same thing that's going on with DeMontre Harris, the South Carolina Gamecocks basketball team. You know, Frank Martin, a great coach. I have a great respect for him. I'm not saying anything disrespectful to him. He wasn't there when Orlando Early, which is now currently on Mark Gottfried's staff at NC State. He wasn't at South Carolina when Early was on the staff as an assistant with South Carolina Gamecocks. DeMontre Harris, the player for South Carolina, says that stated to the team he wanted a release, which they will grant it. But guess what? They're saying, now this one here will blow your mind. Okay, you're in a conference with the University of Kentucky, Louisville. I'm sorry, Louisville's in the Big East. But you got a team, the University of Kentucky, the national champions, defending national champions, and you're saying, you know what, you can go to any team in the Southeastern Conference. I don't even care if you go to Kentucky. I don't care if you go to Calipari. But you know what? You ain't going to NC State. NC State was the only team on that restriction list. And we all know why. I mean, once again, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. Early was there, I think, 2010, 2011 season, something of that nature. Something between that time frame. I don't know what went on with the sports athletic department in Early. It must not have been good. Because they told DeMontre, hey, you know what? You can go to defend the national champions. We don't care. But you ain't going to NC State. But I find this a little ridiculous. It's bad enough that if a player transfer, they have to sit out for a season unless it's due to trying to get home closer to an ill family member. I think that, and also if they graduate, like Russell Wilson was, let's go to football. He graduated from NC State, had one more year of eligibility. He went and played for Wisconsin football team this past season. He was allowed to do that without sitting out a season because he was a graduate. So those are the only two ways that a player can play after transfer. So it just seemed a little redundant to me that Bo Ryan would say, hey, you know, these are the schools two whole conferences. The Big Ten, of course, which I understand and can understand why he didn't want him going to a team within the league that they're a participant in. But I don't understand why he didn't want him to go to the ACC, Iowa State, or Marquette on the list of those 25 schools. So it's going to be funny because Uthoff did have a visit this past Monday and Tuesday at Creighton. So it'll be funny that a team that's not on the list, he might end up going to a team that's not on the list. So good luck to that young man. Also, good luck to DeMontre Harris to find the schools they feel that they're more comfortable with and more suited for both of their game. Now, Uthoff, interestingly enough, was once Mr. Iowa, the state of Iowa. State of Iowa has some good players to come out of there. So he was once Mr. Iowa. Mr. Iowa, like I said, sat on that bench as a freshman, red shirt, and said, you know what? I have a change of heart. I have a change of heart, and God bless him. And I wish him, as well as DeMontre Harris, much success with their college careers. Now, on a more somber note, we had received, and most of you locally know, Dr. Leroy T. Walker had passed away this past Monday at the age of 93 in Durham. Now, a lot of the younger generation may not know who Dr. Walker is or who he was, basically because that's a generation gap, and I didn't know fully who he was until the 80s when I started hearing more about Dr. Leroy Walker. For you that don't know, Coach Walker was the first African American to coach the United States men's Olympic track team, and also to serve as president of the United States Olympic Committee, better known as the USOC. And his death was announced by North Carolina Central University, where he gained coaching experience, valuable coaching experience, and was later the chancellor of that fine institution. Now, Dr. Walker was born in a segregated Atlanta, the youngest of 13 children. He was the only member of his family to attend college, receiving a bachelor's degree from a historically black college, Benedict College, down in Columbia, South Carolina. He had hopes of becoming a physician, but unfortunately that didn't pan out because basically medical school spots for blacks were severely limited back in those days, and his family was poor. So those were two things that obstacles that prevented him to go into the medical field. But nonetheless, he received a master's degree from Columbia University and a doctorate from New York University in physical education and allied fields. Now, as head track and field coach at the historically black North Carolina Central in Durham, known as North Carolina College when he arrived there in 1945, Mr. Walker developed Olympic medalists and numerous national champions and All-Americans. He was, of course, once again, like I stated, chancellor from 1983 to 1986. Now, Mr. Walker did coach 1976 American squad in Montreal, featuring we all know during my time, Edwin Moses, also Bruce Jenner. They both won gold medals in 6 events in Montreal. Now, a lot of you think Bruce Jenner, that's Kim Kardashian or the Kardashian girls' stepfather. But before he became a reality star, he was a track star. And basically, he was coached by Dr. Leroy Walker. He will certainly be missed. And I will just say, Dr. Walker, may you rest in peace, brother. And those of you who would like to go to the public viewing, it will be this Monday at 6:30, between 6:30 and 8:30 p.m. in the B&N Duke Auditorium on the campus of North Carolina Central. Also, the funeral for Dr. Walker will be at 11 a.m. Tuesday at Duke University Chapel. Once again, my heart goes out to his family, the North Carolina Central family, and may your hearts be filled with joy knowing that he has done a lot, he has accomplished a lot during his career, and he contributed a lot, not just to sports, but also to the academics by being a chancellor and also professor at that fine institution of North Carolina Central. Unfortunately, my time is up, and I do hope you enjoyed your early morning coffee with Babe Tom Herman. And please feel free to tune in each and every Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. on Power 750 WAUG and on Power750.com. So please sit back and continue